Hi guys, welcome to Make It Garage. So just now we've got a Corvette Stingray, and if you want to change the oil pan with the engine in situ, what I would suggest is unbolting the brackets, the engine mounts, and it sits in a sort of horseshoe anyway. I've fabricated a bracket, and it allows me to lift it straight up with an engine hoist. And then that gets you some clearance, which I'll show you underneath, which is quite simple as well. Now obviously we're working on an American engine, but metric works all the same. You know, if you're from the UK, whatever, working on a yank tank, what you'll need for doing the engine, the oil pan is an 11mm socket and a 13mm, and then it always helps to be sort of ready. Something works when you're underneath and you forget something. So got gasket seal, got our ratchet and our two sockets. We've got our small ones, 14 of them, 4 of the larger ones for the corners. So what we'll probably end up doing is getting the larger ones in first. So we get 1 in each corner, gives us 4. Not jack it up fully, just enough sitting in the right position, and then I'll show you the rest underneath. So we're under the car now, and you can see I've disconnected this from the steering rack, so that's on a castle nut with a pin. So remove that, drop this down, and that gives you additional clearance for the pan to pass. The reason I've lifted the engine up is because we need that sort of 1.5 inches to be able to safely slide in the sump pan, and then that gives us a wee bit more room. It's easy to do, and then we're not struggling rubbing off all our gasket seal off our gaskets, and we can get into our bolts. So the next step is we're going to fit the rear main and then the front timing seals, which I've got in my pocket. And again, make sure all this is clean of oil, brake fluid. So we've got the front and back. I'll come fit these just now. What I would suggest here, obviously we've got the timing cover, and this is the front seal. So is give it a good bit of gasket seal in the corners, because they're the first bits that I want to leak. So get a good bit in there. Don't worry about it. A wee bit more is better than none on this one. And a tiny bit on the seal on the inside. Put it on, and then it's repeat for the main seal at the back. So that's that one on. Good bit of sealant on each side, wee bead on the inside, and the pan will do the rest with the gasket on the top. Right, now to the next one, main seal. Okay, sorry, it's a bit hard to try and get a decent image on here, but we've got the beads in both corners. Okay, run a wee internal bead to that, and then we'll fire it on. I always think a wee bit more is better, because you know Chevys are notorious for leaking oil. So let's get this thing sealed up. So we've got that one on. Doesn't have to look pretty, serving a purpose. Stop oil coming out. Then when we get this pan put on, jacked up, that'll seal nicely and won't have these notorious corners leaking. So at this point we've got our gaskets. What I'm going to do is run a thin bead right along here, along there, set these on, get them lined up with the holes. You know, I don't want to give it too much time to take. Probably got about maybe half an hour max before the stuff starts, you know, getting touch dry. So we'll do this relatively quick, and then we'll run a small bead on the top of these once they're on, and you'll see that in a sec. So that's that. Doesn't have to look pretty, but I like to just put a wee seal on that, and the sort of front one where the timing cover is, you know, just to, you know, let it slip in easier. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get these on now with one hand, because I'm a pro, and then just sit them up there, position it in the holes. Okay, so we've got there pretty easily in the first try with one hand, so that's not bad. And we'll go for the second one. Again, make sure you get the right sides. And the pan's on the right side, it's obvious for the oil stick, okay? And that'll match up nicely. These sections go into the smaller one. You'll see the grooves, they'll match in. And then we'll just repeat on top of this, and then we'll get it in quickish, because we don't want this stuff sitting too much before we get it on. Don't want to spend too much time talking. Alright. I really want to tell you that went on no problem, and it was easy, and every bolt lined up right through the gasket into the cast. But no, it's not easy all the time, but it's all bolted up snug, not over tightened to the point where it's crimping the metal, but it's all sealed around there and things. So what I'm going to do now is connect this back up, and that'll be me for the night. And then I might put on the oil filter, but I'd pre-fill it so you're not straining the engine. So yeah, it's on, it can be done. It's not easy, but it's worth it in the end. It saves an engine out job. Right, I'll show you this just now. I've half filled the filter so that you're not doing basically firing the engine in dry with no oil, so this helps it. Okay, so it's nice and lubricated. And I'm going to put this in the engine just now, and I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I've got it threaded on. Just turn it until it stops. You don't need to be extremely tight with these, because see, for the next person that has to take it off, it's an absolute nightmare. So just do it tight. Don't have to get a wrench or anything on it. Just get it so it's nice and snug. Don't over tighten these things. And rub a wee bit of oil on the seal. Help the next person out. And the last thing I'd say is just take the time to clean it up, and then you'll be good to go. And you shouldn't have any leaks if you do it right. Just take your time. Plenty of time for it before it cures. And you know what? If you get a drip of oil, it's a Chevy at the end of the day.